Saturday, the 18th of February, we have a bumper race card for you on the Turffontein inside track. We've got all of 11 races, and hopefully the weather does not interfere and that Highveld racing resumes as scheduled. The first of the 11 races due off at 11:37, the last at 17:10. We'll be chatting to Alistair Cohen in just a moment, but let me start with the betting menu. Race 1 is the first leg of Jackpot 1. There are 3 jackpots. Race 1, the first leg of Jackpot 1. Race 2 is the first leg of Bipot 1. Race 3 is the first leg of the Place Accumulator. Race 4, as always, first leg of the Pick 6. Race 5 is first leg of Jackpot 2. Now race 6 is the first leg of Bipot 2. So we've got 3 jackpots, 2 bipots. Race 8 is the first leg of Jackpot 3. And our feature race on the card is the Agoli Mile. On that note, hi Alistair, welcome.
Hi Graham, yep, lovely to be on board. It's a tricky 11 race car, but I think there'll be a lot of hunger around with punters that especially follow Highveld racing. Obviously, no Joburg racing in the last week. Quite a lot of trainers have set out their stall, not taking any chances, double declaring from Tuesday through to Thursday to Saturday, obviously checking the weather forecast. The reports are fairly positive that we'll get this meeting underway. There's a chance of rain on Friday night / Saturday morning, but there's been nothing since late Wednesday or early Thursday. So I'm hoping that the water tables drop sufficiently and we can get the show on the road, because as you can see, a lot of people are desperate for it with an 11 race card and a lot of exotics, as you have already highlighted.
Yeah, slightly tongue-in-cheek, but it's probably fair to say that every single runner is coming back off a rest as a result of not being able to train to their fullest extent. But let's get straight into it. We're going to be short, sharp, and to the point as we move through the 11 races, starting in the first race, which, as I said, is the first leg of Jackpot 1. It's a maiden plate over 1,500 metres. The early favourite is number 10, Radu, at 3-1. That's the half sister to MK's Pride. Take us through race 1, Alistair.
I've narrowed it down to 3 potential winners here, Graham. There are numbers 2, 3, and 10. My first choice would probably be number 3, A Touch of Sugar. I just think she brings slightly more strength via the form lines. Ashley Fortune trains, Ryan Munger takes the ride. We're scheduled to be on the inside track, so the draw is very nice out of Stallgate 4. And I think number 3, Touch of Sugar, she looks like she's just sort of getting the hang of things with more racing as life goes on. So I'm going to give her the vote of confidence. I think number 2 on the card, Powers That Be, should go well. There was only a quarter of a length between 2 and 3 when they met behind October Fair, so I don't expect there to be too much between them. And then number 10, Radu, we've spoken about her. I think this is the 3rd time this week that we've spoken about the daughter of Rabada. As you mentioned, half-sister to MK's Pride. She's looking for this distance. She runs like she's looking for this distance, and she'll have every chance of going well again. So I think the winner will come from 2, from 3. Start your day by working around those.
Race number 2 is the first leg of Bipot 1. It's a maiden plate over 1,500 metres. Here we do have quite a short-priced favourite in the form of the ex-Cape horse, number 1, Stratospheric, formerly trained by Justin Snaith, now with Tony Peter. Keegan DeMello takes the ride, has had many chances, has had 9 starts, has been placed second on 4 occasions, tops the boards at 14-10. Number 2, Nazar, is at 4-1. 11 Storm Dominator, 6-1. 9 Global Impact, 8-1. The balance are 10-1 and better. How are you going to play the first leg of the Bipot?
Well, the Bipot is my suggested bet on this card, Graham. I think I'll double up. I've gone with 2 horses here. Number 1, Stratospheric, and number 2, Nazare. Starting off with Stratospheric, I've heard race over from a 7.5-hour flight away. I've heard number 1, Stratospheric, cannot miss. He's a regally bred son of Water Winter out of Stratos, who of course was well performed with Mike Azzi. First run in Johannesburg, and as we saw with Tony Peter's father Paul, they tend to come right first run for the Peter Yard, and there have been a few already that have, without winning, run very, very nicely and shown good improvement. Number 2, Nazare, word from him, he's a useful son of Water Winter. He's going to win his races. Candice has been dying to get him over this type of distance. Last week he was started to run, he was drawn 1, and everything was lined up, expecting him to win. Sadly, that meeting on Sunday didn't take place, so here we are 6 days later with one horse to beat. So 1 and 2 for me, Stratospheric and Nazare, with perhaps the interesting runner being number 9, Global Impact, having run less than 2 lengths to Royal Victory at Hollywoodbets Greyville on Daily Newsday over 6 months ago, nearly 9 months ago, and then following up with a useful, I'm going to say useful performance behind Quantum Theory, but still Quantum Theory is a very smart 3-year-old from Robbie Sage's stable. So I'm expecting number 9 Global Impact to need the run like so many of these Mano Pandaram-owned / trained horses, but he does bring very appealing form lines into the race.
Okay, there we go. That was first leg of the bipod, and you heard it from Alistair. Stratospheric. The word is out that it's just about race over, but he's a well-tried maiden, so respect Candice Dawson's runner, number 2, Nazar. Alistair going with those 2 in the first leg of the bipod. Race 3, the first leg of the place accumulator, is a maiden plate over 1,800 metres, and here we have the favourite being number 11, Broadlands, at 16-10. Gavin Larena and Sean Tarry teaming up. Number 8, American Biscuit at 33-10. Number 9, Breeze Over at 5-1. Number 5, Manx Knight at 8-1. It's over 1,800 metres. It goes at 12:40. Obviously an early start to the racing with 11 races carded. Number 11, Broadlands. Does this one set the standard in this maiden plate?
I think she'll be in the first 2. I'll be highly disappointed if she doesn't finish in the first 2. I do have a lot of respect for number 8, American Biscuit, who should be well equipped to step up the extra furlong and seems to be coming along the right way. Although Vartilius was very strong favourite when winning, and American Biscuit was fair in 4th. American Biscuit followed up with a half a length beating to Follow the Flow, who brought some very neat form lines into the race. But what is key is that Follow the Flow was a filly taking on boys, and so is number 11, Broadlands. Broadlands has been on the radar for a while. I was a bit disturbed that she got beaten at her penultimate start by Pomazelis at the time, but I don't think Pomazelis is going to work out to be all that bad. And then again, at the time, when Prime Example beat number 11, Broadlands, last time out, I thought, well, Prime Example, I think it was at the 16th time of asking, can get out the maidens. Maybe Broadlands isn't so hot. Well, Prime Example came out in Frank's form. So I'm going to give number 11, Broadlands, the chance. She's banging at the door. Sex allowance, Gavin Larena on board. All of that is obviously positive. I respect the chances of number 8, American Biscuit. And then number 9, Breeze Over. I'm not sure what to make of him. I don't think his last run was a flash in the pan. He was unlucky not to finish close, so they went to the boardroom. I'm not too sure whether the deposit was refunded. I would have considered that. But all the same, he was taken out by National Star, but National Star was running away from Breeze Over. So with all that said, there might be something there with number 9, Breeze Over, but I expect that he might have to step up a little bit more to beat number 11, Broadlands. But with number 9, Breeze Over, expected to win soon enough.
Moving on to race 4, the opening leg of the pick 6. It's an MR88 handicap over 1,800 metres. And let's have a look at the betting first of all. Number 6, Tamarisk Tree. Gavin Larena has picked up the ride from Muzieni. Muzieni not riding. Not all of those jockey replacements at the time of recording the show were available, but I can tell you that Gavin Larena has been snapped up by Robbie Sage to ride number 6, Tamarisk Tree, who is the early favourite at 33-10. Number 1, Good Counsel, of course, comes out of a Guineas run, is at 4-1. Number 2, Diesel and Dust is at 5-1. Number 3, Tababuya is at 11-2. And the only other runner quoted in single figures is number 11, Duke of Rain, at 8-1. So that's the betting for the opening leg of the pick 6. It does look a competitive handicap. And again, I just suggest, as Tamarisk Tree, his form is okay, but not all that hot to suggest that he's a real live wire, or do you see it differently?
Graham, this is such a complex race. Look how much pace there is in this event. Good Counsel is one that likes to go forward. I'm not sure he'll be able to go forward with the pace of Tubby Bua, who stowed it last time with a brave ride from Calvin Habib. Whispers of Wall's best chances to go to the front. There's Twin Turbo, who I'm sure with the apprentice allowance will go blazing off to the lead. So that might set up for horses, or it should set up for horses coming from off the pace. And 6 Tamarisk Tree is one of those. And so a stable companion, number 9, Call Me Master, who I'm going to give another chance to. I've gone 4 horses in my bar, but they are 1, 2, 6, and 9. Starting off with number 6, Tamarisk Tree. I like the fact that he's getting a bit of weight from another 3-year-old in the form of Good Counsel. They've met before, and there's a healthy swing at the weights in favour of number 6, Tamarisk Tree. It is also, crucially, his first run as a gelding. I think he's been looking for gelding. So I think number 6, Tamarisk Tree, deserves his place near or at the top of bookmakers' boards. Stable companion number 9, Call Me Master. I reckon if you had to speak to Robbie Sage right now, he'd say Tamarisk Tree's got a lot more ability than number 9, Call Me Master. But Call Me Master is such a good, solid handicapper. It looks like he's lost his way at his last 2 starts. I believe that he absolutely hated the long Val Straight in the Heritage Consolation at his penultimate start. And then last time out, a tad disappointing, but I'll give him the vote of confidence to bounce back with the race likely run to suit. 1 Good Counsel's obviously a smart horse bringing the Guineas form. I'm intrigued to see how that will work out because the Dingon's form was so strong, and I think you can draw comparisons with Royal Victory running close up in both races. So I think it would be foolish to leave out number 1, Good Counsel. And then number 2, Diesel and Dust. He's an absolute basket case. Malanda Troy, I know, works very hard with number 2, Diesel and Dust. And often, but not always, Milan gets it right on race day. He gives the handlers and the starters an almighty headache. If he loads and if he behaves, as you can see his recent form suggests, he will be a danger. But you can expect absolutely anything with Diesel and Dust. They're the 4 horses I'm going with. I think the pace will break up in a very complex and intriguing race.
So there we go. That's Alistair's analysis of race 4, this MR88 handicap, in which number 6, Tamarisk Tree, is the early anti-post favourite at 33-10. And as you heard from Alistair, is having his first run as a gelding, so he could certainly get back to winning form. Race 5 is a Pinnacle Stakes over 1,800 metres. It is the first leg of Jackpot 2, and Nebras comes back from a very unlucky defeat in the Western Cape Stayers, where he was beaten half a length by Salvatore Mundi. He comes back to the Highveld. He's obviously in good form, but this is over 1,800 metres, a distance over which he has performed really well in the past. But it's his stable companion, number 5, Litigation, that tops the boards at 28-10. Gavin Arena takes the ride for Sean Tarry. Rachel Venica aboard number 2, Nebras, who's the second choice in the market at 7-2. Number 4, Second Base, is at 7-1, and number 11, Flashy Apache, game and consistent, the 4-year-old son of the Apache, is at 9-2. So Sean Tarry, undoubtedly, Alistair holds a very strong hand in the first leg of Jackpot 2, this Pinnacle Stakes. Nebras, I thought, was very unlucky to go down last time. Litigation, Nebras, are these the 2?
I've gone with 3 horses in the bar pot, and funny enough, Sean Terry is going to saddle 3 horses in this race. So I've gone with all 3 Sean Terry horses, hoping that at least one of them run into the first 2. I'm a bit wary about this race, Graham. I must be honest. I think Nebras, pound for pound, is the horse that they all need to beat. The best weighted column shows that Lights of the Moon is the best weighted, but she just seems to be a little bit off colour in her last couple of starts. I thought she'd run better in the Java, and she made no show in the Summer Cup. I think that she'll probably step forward with this run under the belt, so that's why I've left her out. 2, Nebras, I think will suit Rachel Venica. I think that he likes a nice quiet ride and left alone to run on. The inside track is a query. He's been on the course twice before. He's run second on the course twice before, but they were over further. And Nebras gives me the impression that he's prepping for something. So even though I make him the horse to beat, I'm not convinced that he'll be 100% fully wound up and having a full go. If he's there to win, obviously he'll win it. But I think there'll be a bit of meat on the bone for races to come, and also with a look on champion season with that big stakes announcement less than 24 hours ago. 5, Litigation, distance specialist, winner of the Victory Moon. If you put me in a corner, I'd probably go with him. I thought his run in the Summer Cup was a smart effort, beaten 3 lengths to Puerto Manzano. He actually looked a winner, not so far out. So it's a big run from number 5, Litigation Expected, although the same comments applies. Be better with the run under the belt, probably targeting races like the Colorado King Stakes and not so long from now. And the other Terry running number 8, Platinum Sky, I nearly consigned him to the scrap heap, but then he won his penultimate start, so he's back in my good books, number 8, Platinum Sky. I always believe that he's capable at this type of level, so he's got to go in as well.
Okay, so that was race 5, the first leg of Jackpot 2. As I mentioned earlier, there's a whole array of bets. And on that note, race 6, which is a middle stakes over 2,600 meters, is the first leg of Bipot number 2. So we've got 2 Bipots. Now, Alistair, we chatted obviously earlier in the week when covering off on one of the aborted meetings, and in Banner Bridge was set to take on Battleground earlier in the week, but that would have been over 2,400 meters. This is slightly further, 2,600 meters. And you said to me you would be disappointed if Banner Bridge didn't beat Battleground, although you've got healthy respect for the improving 3-year-old son of Futuri. You thought Banner Bridge would certainly have the better of exchanges with Battleground. Now, Battleground is 5-2 in the early betting exchanges. Banner Bridge, 11-2, carrying your family's silks. Number 3, Flying First Class, is 4-1. 2, White Fang is 5-1, and 4, Earl is 8-1. But let's start with those 2 that were meant to run earlier in the week. Are you still very much in the camp of your own horse, Banner Bridge, over the early favourite Battleground?
They do meet on the same weight terms that they were supposed to meet on Tuesday. So if I like Banner Bridge over Battleground on Tuesday, then I've got to be confident that number 7 Banner Bridge will beat number 8 Battleground. Although the same comments apply that I think Battleground is a nice, useful, more than useful progressive stayer. So I don't think Battleground will be disgraced. I've left them out of my bipot. I think Banner Bridge going over 2,600 meters is good. My worry is Banner Bridge on the inside track. That turning course might just catch him out, but it is also his first run over this type of trip on the inside track. So I'll give him a vote of confidence. If this was the standside track with the Val, I'd say that Banner Bridge would be very tough to beat. There's a line of form, obviously, in that run to the 28th of January with the Fraud. There should be much less between number 6 of Fraud and 7 Banner Bridge. I think a Fraud 2 will be better equipped over 2,600 meters. His career record does show it. In fact, he absolutely loves this course and distance with 6 starts, 1 win, but 4 places. So he should be bang there. But number 3, Flying First Class, has really developed into a good stayer, hasn't she? She's a 9-time winner. She looked to be hard to beat last time in the LA France, and she arrived. She's got an awkward draw, but she seems like she can pretty much be placed anywhere. I think probably the closer to the pace, the better. There should be a pace here with White Fang on the race, so that could set up nicely for number 3, Flying First Class. And I'll make her the one to beat. So 3, 6, and 7 for me in the bipod, with healthy respect for both Lucky Gudalakis runners, 8 Battleground and 9 King of Rome.
Yeah, 2,600 meters is not a distance over which we race often. Obviously, it is a distance that is catered for on the Turffontein inside track. And as you mentioned, Flying First Class's record over course and distance is impressive. 6 starts, 3 wins, 1 second and 2 thirds. So you heard it there from Alistair. He, of course, will be hoping that Banner Bridge delivers, but that's his heart selection. His brain is telling him that Flying First Class may be tough to beat. Race 7 is the headliner, the Igoli Mile over 1,600 meters. It's for 3-year-olds, and the betting suggests that we're in for a bit of a tough time in this race. Take us through the Igoli Mile.
2 and 4, Graham, with a strong suggestion that number 2, Aravidicio, will win it. From the Mike de Kock stable, Mike's obviously got a very good crop of 3-year-old colts, even though that Shoemaker fluffed his lines on the Guineas. I think East Coast is going to be a huge chance in the Classic, and probably even more so in the South African Derby at the end of at the start of April, rather. And I think number 2, Aravidicio, is sort of just below that type of caliber. If he's just below that type of caliber, just below group level, then he ought to run a big race in the Igoli Mile. I actually liked his last 2 runs in the Secretariat Stakes and then in the Tony Ruffle, both over 1,400 meters. He's always given the impression that he's looking for this type of trip, and funny enough, this is the first time going a mile. So I think all is set for number 2, Aravidicio, to win a race of a little bit of substance, even though it holds no graded status. I think this is a nice stepping stone for number 2, Arabaditra, potentially into a race like the Derby Trial, which does have listed status. Number 4, Meridius is a likeable son of Canford Cliffs. He runs his races. He's honest. His only blip on the radar was on the Dingons, where he was part of blinkers for the first and only time, and on that run probably for the last time. But my inkling with number 4, Meridius, and I'm going back to the Robbie Sage analogy that I used earlier on with Tamara's Tree and Call Me Master. If you went to Mike de Croc and said, right, Aravadicho or Sequoia, you own them both, so you can be honest. You don't have to step on any owner's toes. Which one's better? I'm sure he'd tell you that Aravadicho is a lot better than Sequoia. And obviously my line of thinking there is that Meridius beat Sequoia by about a quarter of a length when they met on the 15th of December. So I think that sways me to number 2, Aravadicha, but Meridius is the type of horse who always punches above his weight. I want to make a mention about number 9, Billy Spellbound. I don't expect him to win this. I think he'll run well enough, but I think that you're going to see a very, very nice horse when he goes the Derby type of distance, number 9, Billy Spellbound. So watch for him running on, potentially getting into the first 4 and teeing himself up for races like the Derby Trial and the South African Derby at the start of April.
One other, just like your thoughts on, and that is the stable companion to number 2, Rivadia, Chio. Number 5, Climate Control. The Mount of Raymond Danielson does have a wide draw, hasn't run since November, so the signs are suggesting that he might need this run. But that effort behind Duke of Sussex, who came out to win the Heritage, and then Good Counsel, they weren't bad efforts, and they've always held this horse in quite high regard. He's actually disappointed them. But is there still scope for him to perhaps bounce back and improve?
That was my exact comment I was going to make about number 5, Climate Control. I think he's been a tad disappointing. I don't know what to make of him. I think that he'll be bang there, but how much scope for improvement does he have? I suppose he's been well exposed and tested against battle-hardened older horses, like quite a few others in this race. He's probably cut from the same cloth as the likes of number 4, Meridius, on that he's just going to run a nice race. But the fact that he's a one-time winner and he beat National Star, and National Star took 6 months longer to win a maiden, that's a little bit of a query for number 4, number 5, Climate Control. I think he's got to step up a little bit more. He might well do so as he gets older, being by Ideal World out of a Rich Man's Gold Mare. But I think for now his reputation might just precede him.
Okay, so clear-cut first choice for Alistair, number 2, from the Mike de Kock stable, but some respect for number 4, Meridius, as we move to race 8 of 11, and this is the first leg of Jackpot 3. It's a Pinnacle Stakes over 1,500 metres. It's an interesting race with a number with chances. Out of the Darkness is the early favourite, but it's wide open. What do you make of the 8th race?
Well, even though my suggested bet's a bipot, I'm going to help the punters out with a last jackpot here, the 4th jackpot. This obviously overlaps with the 2nd jackpot. So if you're in trouble, perhaps work around these numbers. I'm a big fan of number 3, Out of the Darkness, as a racehorse. He loves the inside track, 7 starts, 3 wins and 4 places. He'll run his race last time at Turffontein in the Wolf Tower over a mile. I think the fact that he gave the likes of Savannah Storm weight may have just caught him out. I also believe that even though he's run well over a mile, that might just be a step too far. 1,450, 1,500 metres, probably his best chop for that matter to probably be a bit more accurate. And I think number 3, Out of the Darkness, will run well enough. 4, Forever Mine on the inside track is very dangerous. He's got all the attributes to run above himself again on the inside course. He, of course, shone at the start of the season on what was, to be fair, a faster track with the gate speed that he has. I think that served him well. We obviously won't get a fast track on the Turffontein inside track with all the rain that's been around the half up for the last 10 days or so. So that might be against him, but I'll always respect him on the tight turning inside course. And I'm looking for others. Maybe number 9, Home Girl. Chase Morjan takes the ride. I don't really know what to make of her, because since coming up to the half up, she's done okay without ripping up any trees. But she, of course, won the Tibashina at Hollywoodbets Greyville on Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge race day. So she's got the class to go well. She's also got a useful galloping weight. So I'd include her in the play. And that's probably where the race ends for me, unless I'm missing something quite obvious.
So Out of the Darkness and Forever Mine, the two leading lights. And interesting, Alistair, they did meet over this exact course and distance, 1,500 metres. It was a few months ago when Out of the Darkness ran fourth behind Forever Mine. He's slightly better off at the weights, but it does suggest, and your point about the going as far as Forever Mine is concerned is valid. So probably very little to choose between 3 Out of the Darkness and 4 Forever Mine, and Alistair expecting the winner to come from one of those two. Race 9 of 11 is a novice handicap over 1,400 metres. It's the first leg of the final pick 3. It goes at 16:02. Now, being a novice handicap, it's interesting. And the recent debut winner, number 6, Lushozi Shoop, is the early favourite at 22-10. Will he make a winning handicap debut? I know it's a novice handicap, but a handicap nonetheless. He's quite short in the market at 22-10. He does look to be above average. He's got a lovely pedigree. Celtic Rumours is the second choice at 7-2, and Vitellius is at 9-2. And number 2, Houston, from your stable, the Candace Dawson stable, is at 7-1. What do you make of this lightly raced, impressive debut winner, Lushozi Shoop?
She beat a very shallow field on debut, but she looked very good. She was hands and heels. She comes out of barrier 1. I think to be simple with Lushozi Shoop is, do I think she's better than an 83? Obviously, you've got to take the weight per age aspect into it, so an extra 8 points. 91, do I think she's better than a net 91? She probably is. And I also think that this extra trip will probably suit if it doesn't come too soon. So a lot to like about number 6, Lushozi Shoop. Like I said, untouched by Keegan DeMello first time out. So she has any amount of improvement to come. She deserves her place at the top of the boards. Number 2, Houston, do not leave him out. He's got a huge chance. Cabello Matsanyani rides for Candace Dawson. Last run behind Unzen, he needed quite badly. It was his first run as a gelding. If everything goes according to plan for number 2, Houston, he will run a big race. So make sure he's in all of your bets. 5, Celtic Rumours. She beat Quixote in the maidens, and Quixote is still a maiden, and he's let everyone down on a few occasions. So I have queries about number 5, Celtic Rumours, although I think she'll still develop into a useful horse. I think she's been a tad disappointing. And number 7, Vitellius, could be anything. He beat Stepping Out. Stepping Out is still a maiden. But he could have any amount of improvement to come. I think the further he goes, the better he'll be. This is obviously slightly harder, but he gets weight from quite a few horses, and a useful 52.5 kilos on his back for number 7, Vitellius. So I'll rather keep on the good side of him. And number 9, Future Wolf, also got to be a chance. He's half a kilo under Suffrance, half a kilo. I don't worry about too much. He's holding form. I think when he won, it was more a fact of Sparkling Jubilee not being too good. I think Future Wolf is a bit of a tea leaf, the way that he moves up in his races and doesn't go on with it. But he's a type of confidence horse. If he does get a win under the belt, he could well go on and win a few from there. So, yeah, I think he'll run well, but without potentially winning number 9, Future Wolf. So 2, 5, 6, and 7 for me.
2, 5, 6, and 7, and you heard it there from the horse's mouth. Number 2, Houston, expected to run really well, and is quite easy to back at 7-1. But under the microscope will be the recent debut winner, number 6, Lushozi Shoop. Race 10, the penultimate race, MR80 handicap over 1,000 metres. Here we have number 1, Mover and Shaker, topping the boards at 14-10. Now, he was supposed to run earlier in the week. On that occasion, he was priced up at the prohibitive odds of 1-3, which both Alistair and I at the time thought was tremendously skinny. A little easier to back here, or significantly easier to back here at 14-10, but still quite short in the market, Alistair.
I think he's the best horse in the race, Graham. I know it's a handicap. He gets a useful 2.5 kilos off the back from Sianda Sasibo. If you go back to his win on Hollywoodbets Durbanville, even though over 1,300 metres, we're not necessarily comparing apples with apples. I thought that he tiptoed it on that occasion when beating Now I Got You. Another stride, he probably runs 3rd or 4th. So I think that he is a 1,000-metre horse, which he showed last time by going from start to finish and beating Umtombo Walwazi, who I know Clinton Binder thinks a lot of. Umtombo Walwazi runs his races, and has served connections, Hollywoodbets, and everybody else well. So I think number one, Mover and Shake, is the one to beat. I think the only horse who could trouble him could be number 4, Smith and Weston, on the back of a big run on the opening leg of the Triple Crown race there, when finishing a close-up second to Good Queen Bess. I'd say that might have been a bit surprising. The handicappers left them alone at a 79, and the irony of that is, had he won, had he got going a stride earlier, his rating coming into this race could have been an 82 or an 83. So he may have just escaped the grip of the handicapper. I respect number 4, Smith and Wesson, and I think the winner will come from one of those two. I don't see too much else troubling them.
Race 11, the final race. It's a mammoth day, it's a bumper day, it's a marathon day, starting at 11:37 and getting all the way to 17:10. So here we go, 1,200 meters classified stakes. Let's have a look at the betting firstly. And it is number 1, Cool Winter, at 33-10. Number 11, Power Ranger, who will be ridden by Pitasoli Mkholi in place of Musieni, is at 28-10. So Power Ranger, the marginal favourite. Number 4, Admiralty Arch, priced up at 4-1, comes in with very good consistent form. And number 7, Written in Stone, is at 8-1. Those are the runners quoted in single figures. Now, this is the last leg of Jackpot 3, and you mentioned a little while ago that you're going to help us through Jackpot 3 as well as your suggested buy pot. So what are we focusing on in the final leg of Jackpot 3?
Sure, good luck. Go field if you can afford it. There are lots in here with chances. Number 1, Cool Winter, was a winner in the boardroom just 20 days ago when getting the verdict over Iron Tail. He's got to go in. I think I'm just going to be short and sweet here. 1, Cool Winter needs to go into the play. I think number 4, Admiralty Arch, is more of a VAR horse than a Turffontein horse, even though he's in good heart at the moment. I'm dicey about including him, I must confess. Number 7, Written in Stone, definitely goes in. He enjoys the inside track. Donald Geertsen takes a ride from a tough draw, but he gets ridden for luck. Number 8, Silver Clock, although it's an easy explanation for liking Silver Clock, she ran 4 1/4 lengths to the subsequent Volkerbos Drift Triple TR, the Gauteng Fillies Guineas winner in the form of Lady of Power. So 8, Silver Clock does come in some degree of good heart. And then number 11, Power Ranger, even though he's been very, very costly to follow. Did you know that he won very early on in his career? I wanted to say in his debut, but I'm undercorrecting now. I won't quite go that far. But he obviously won very early in his career. He was tried at a high level. He didn't get there. His rating has plummeted. He's got to be right one of these days, number 11, Power Ranger. I don't know what he needs to win. The blinkers have gone on, and he's done exactly the same thing as he did without blinkers. He runs the same way. He looks dangerous for a while. He gets unlucky in his races. He's just a bit of an enigma for Roy Magner and connections. But he earns, and he will win one of these days, number 11, Power Ranger, and I'd rather be with him than against him. And also a mention for number 9, Primula. I was disappointed with her last run, which was her local debut. I'll give her another chance because I think her best Cape form puts her well into the picture here.
Interesting, Power Ranger. You mentioned he won early in his career. He's had 21 starts for just that single victory. But interestingly, he's only been over the inside track at Turffontein on 2 occasions. For a second and a fourth, he's nicely drawn. So as you say, his rating is plummeted. He is the top of the boards, and he has been costly to follow, but who knows? Maybe this Saturday is his day. Well, that's it. We've been through the 11 races. It's been a marathon session, but now it's time for Alistair Cohen to take us through his suggested bet. He's gone with a buy pot, and he might verbally just want to take us again through Jackpot 3. But first up, your buy pot, which will appear on screen in a moment, Alistair. So thank you very much. Buy pot 1, which starts at 12:10. Race 2 is the first leg of this buy pot.
Yep, so bar pot 1, as you mentioned, 12:10 starts in race number 2. Don't take the wrong bar pot on a day where they're 2. 1 and 2, Stratospheric and Nazare. I think I'll double up there by banker number 11, Broadlands, in the second leg. The race I'm most looking forward to, just to see how everything transpires and who comes out on top in a complex race, is race 4, which is leg 3 of the bar pot. So 1, 2, 6 and 9 for me. By the Sean Terry trifecta, 2, 5 and 8 in the brass litigation and Platinum Sky, even though I think all but Platinum Sky are going to have their eyes on races to come this season. I think Sean Terry could have a good race there. Then 3, 6, and 7, the penultimate leg, Flying First Class of Prad and Banner Bridge. And then 2 and 4 in the back, Aravadicha and Meridius, very close to bankering Aravadicha, but I've included the likeable, consistent Barrier 1 drawn Meridius. And then that second jackpot, just to go through that, there were 3, 4, and 9 in the first leg, by 2, 5, 6, 7, and 9 in the second leg, by 1 and 4 in the third leg, and then the final leg, throw in as many as you can. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 11 will be the horses that I go in with.
Okay, just to clarify, that will be jackpot 3, in fact, which starts in race 8. Correct. Yeah, jackpot 1 is race 1, jackpot 2 is race 5, jackpot 3 is race 8. Alistair, it's been a long session. As always, thanks for your time, and let's hope it all goes well at Turffontein on the inside track this coming Saturday.